All right, welcome back, everyone. So we want to welcome back our YouTube and Facebook audience. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Look at that boy taking steps. Steps of the scientific method. He's very careful, he's looking, he's really calculative not to miss anything. And he's very focused, you see? And he doesn't want to fall. Okay. Please, if you need to go and take some candies and things like that, they're at the back. Feel free to go in the middle of something and take care of yourself. All right, so we're going to now begin to study the steps of the scientific method. Okay? Yeah.
Steps of the scientific method. Number one.
We are going to be seeing these steps all throughout, okay? I'm going to be repeating them over and over again.
Number one, ask a question. Number two, do background research. Number three, construct a hypothesis. Number four, test with an experiment. Number five, procedure, check if procedure is working. Number six.
Are they working, yes or no?
Okay. If procedure is working.
It's yes.
Yeah, if procedure is working is yes, then analyze data. And
if it's not working, it's no.
And conclusion. If not working, then no. Then troubleshoot procedure, carefully check all steps and set up.
Then communicate result, right?
Then number seven, communicate results.
So, but we are going to take them one by one now. So let's take, which one should we start with? Which one is the number one step?
Ask
a question. Yes. So we are going to start with asking questions. So that is the first step in scientific method. Ask a question. So how do we understand this? Let's examine and analyze this.
Number one, ask a question. The scientific method starts when you ask a question about something that you observe. How, what, when, who, which, why, where. Question should be something you can measure, preferably with a number.
Okay, for example, now the question that I have to you people is this. We have a question of people dying, because that's the question. When you go to the internet now and interact with Nigerians, they will be say, hey, people are dying. So many people dying in the last 2 weeks. Hey, Nigeria, God is angry with Nigeria. Oh, there is something wrong. People are dying. Hey, so that is what? That is a question. So what do you do as somebody who is humane, who is human, who is not, okay, you know already what paganistic worldview will do. You know exactly what biomasses will do. Biomasses will just give will to what? Emotions, sentiments, whatever the emotion tells them to do, they will do. If the emotion tells them to cry, they will begin to cry and weep. If the emotion tells them to curse, they will begin to curse. Or they'll begin to, pray. Or they'll begin to, what paganistic worldview do? They will either begin to blame somebody or appeal to God. Or appeal to God or do sacrifice or pray or one of the two. So now, when a question arises in a nation like Nigeria, people are dying. They are killing people. And you don't want to respond like a biomass, like an animal, and you don't want to respond like paganistic worldview, What do you do? What does that mean? Question. What do you do with question? How do you respond with question rather than with sentiments? Huh? No. What do you do with this thing? Okay, let's take the killing, for example. How do you deal with it? All these 2 weeks of killing. Okay, take the microphone. All these 2 weeks of killings. So what is it?
First of all, you have to ask the question, why are people dying?
Okay.
And after asking why, what are the
You
causes?
see, these are the questions.
Yeah. What are the causes of death?
Okay.
Really? And
And you already know why are people dying. They are being killed.
yeah,
The people who the cause is the herdsmen.
S-men.
Okay.
How are they killing people?
How?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are they killing people?
Okay.
What are the methods?
Okay.
What
are the reasons?
What are the reasons?
Why?
Why?
Okay.
And who are these people?
Who is responsible or who is behind it?
Who's behind it?
Okay.
Who are the people killing?
Okay.
And who are the people sponsoring them?
Okay.
Then where? What location?
Where?
of the
What
country
location?
is it
What if? You see what if over there? What if? What if it's not what we are thinking? What about if it is not the herdsmen? What about if it is herdsmen, really, but it's only their hands that are being used? What about if it's the politicians? What about if it's the governor? What about if it's the government, opposition, or the ruling party? What about if they are not even Nigerians? So those questions alone, just by asking question alone, it removes sentiments from you. It stops you from being animal. Just asking question alone removes the tendency of you being instinctive. I mean, being acting by instinct.
Yeah, instinctive.
Yes, but you will rather now give room to reason because you want to know the cause and effect. Okay, let's now go to another situation with the tank that busted. So now people are saying God is angry with Nigeria, God doesn't love Nigeria, or we need to do something. What will human being do? What should normal person do if you don't want to be paganistic and if you don't want to be sentimental? What do we use question? How do you use question in this sense to be normal? How do you, concerning the tank and the killing yesterday? Who wants to talk about that? Yes. No, it's okay where you are. Or if you want to come out, you can come out.
Okay, so you first ask what happened. They say it's accident.
Okay.
Like,
But you have to verify for yourself what really happened.
yeah.
They say it's one thing. Beautiful. They say it's accident. And the same thing with the killing of the Fulani. They said it is the Fulani. These are all assumptions. They are not even hypotheses yet. Hypothesis yet. Okay? They say it's accident.
They said it's accident. What caused the accident? Am I
Okay.
still to ask that question again?
Yes.
Or why did it happen?
Yes.
You can proceed. Why did it happen? They will tell me.
So you are not saying God.
Yeah. How did it
You are not looking for God.
Why did it happen?
You are not praying to God to say, you are asking concrete, real, down-to-earth questions. Okay?
Maybe probably they said a car was just coming from this side and they collided with one other one.
Which car? You say which there?
I say, which car? They will tell me the car. Say, how did it happen? Did anybody see the scene? Did you see what was happening? And they might actually tell me that this one was coming. Is this other one's fault or this other one's fault? I say, what if?
Yes. What if?
They thinking that caused it wasn't his fault. What if the other driver was drunk? Or what if the other one was on phone?
What if the roads have been separated from normal commercial roads for vehicles? What if the fuel and gases are being transported by rail? What if, the people have not been exposed to this kind of How should you use bridge? When you are carrying something like that bridge, you have to be, and roundabout, you have to be going like that. And it's corner. You have to bend. You have to,
I think it's all about some of the questions.
So
we
what
should
would
ask.
the next question I will have is that, how does questioning deliver you from paganism and from being a biomass? Who could answer those questions? How will questioning, this point alone, questioning, deliver you from not being biomass or not being paganistic? Anybody wants to answer? Yes, please. Ikeshi.
To avoid paganistic worldviews, I think it goes to questioning yourself, questioning why is this happened, what has happened, when did it happen? Instead of trying to blame it on other individuals. Or
Beautiful.
outside, you blame it on
When you are asking those questions, you can't blame. You don't want to, because if you understand, if you are established in the fact that it is questions you need to get answers to, you don't want to blame. You want answers, you want to get your questions answered, not passing blame. Because you are asking the question what, not who. In paganism, it is about who is to blame. Is it the gods that are to blame or evil men are to blame? Who is to blame? That's one way.
Yeah. What was the second part as well? Like you said about paganism.
Praying, appeasing to God, either praying or ask God is angry at us or we need to do something.
I think again on that it goes back to that statement of trying to understand. Okay, it's not God. What do I need to do in order to
taking responsibility? If I ask questions, I'm taking responsibility for what depends on me, what I can do about the real life, rather than removing myself and looking up to God to come and do what I'm supposed to do. By asking myself questions, I take responsibility, which delivers me from paganism of looking to God for answers when I'm put in charge. Okay, but how does that, thank you, you did well, but the second question I ask is that, how does questioning deliver you from biomass's tendencies, from reflexes, from instincts, and from sensationalism, sentiments of just going to give a speech, or God's going to condemn, angry, and those are the things that biomasses do, animals. How does questioning help you not to be an animal, not to act by instinct and sentiments?
Because I can think.
When you are asking questions.
When I'm asking questions.
When I'm asking questions, I'm using my mind. I'm not using my emotion. Beautiful. When I'm asking questions, I'm using my mind. I'm questioning, reasoning. And it is when you reason, you become human. You become a man. But when you are responding and reacting by emotions and instinct, you are animal. You are animalistic. But when you quieten your emotions down and your instinct, and you go into reasoning, asking question why, you are delivered from the lowest part of you, which is animalistic. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and explain more and further on this questioning issue.
Help for this step. Your question. Some characteristics of a good question. Number 1, the question should be interesting enough to read about, then work on for the next few weeks. Number 2.
So you see what it says? The first point in questioning, when you put your question forward, that question must be interesting to you. You must have a burden. That question must be something that bothers you, that burdens you. It's not just passing by that you just forget and you are not serious about it. But it must be a solid question that is a burden enough that you want to really sit down with and dedicate your heart, your time to discovering it. So that question should be so interesting to you enough. It will be interesting enough. Not just what do you say? You've forgotten. Some people will ask you, what did you do today? And before you answer, they have said, well, I was in, they are not interested. This is not the kind of question we are talking about. And you say, what's your name? He has even gone. He didn't even listen to you when you answer. This is not the, this is not the kind of question we are talking. We are talking about burden question. That is what you want to apply scientific method for. Something that is interesting, that is a burden enough for you, that it will push you to read, that you wish to go and read and study, and then work on it even for weeks if necessary, not just for 5 minutes. You go to Google 5 minutes, you don't find out. But it must be burden, it must be serious enough that you have the patience to go through pages and pages, pages over pages of Google, not just the first page. 10 pages, 20 pages, do research. That is how you get questions, and you get questions answered. Number 2 point.
Number 2, there should be at least 3 sources of written information on the subject. You want to be able to build on the experience of others.
This is a condition, compulsory condition, when it comes to questioning. Anything you are questioning, any subject that you have raised, you shouldn't just use one source and come to a conclusion. You must always have at least 3 alternatives or 3 sources of information, 3 backups. So, for example, if you are reading about how, let's say this fire that happened, this truck that burst, and you just say, oh, how do they do it? The question is, how do they resolve these kind of problems in the West? Then you go to England. Oh, the English people, they just use train. That is one option. Then you have to say, okay, how do the Italians resolve it? Then you discover that, oh, Italians, they have different road for their trucks. Then what about the Americans? What about South Africans? What about Australia? You have more than one source that are confirming and giving you different point of view or the same point of view. So you are standing on solid ground. So it is any time you are looking for information, what this is saying is that make sure you look into several sources, minimum 3. It doesn't matter if they are conflicting or they are saying the same thing, but make sure that you have numerous. That is a demand in scientific method. You must not just take one book or one source. You must have sources. Okay?
Number 3, the question should contain one factor variable that you can change in your experiment, and at least one factor or variable that you can measure.
So before you can say you are performing an experiment, any hypothesis that you are bringing to the table or any element of your experiment, you must be able to remove it and change it and say, okay, I want to change this. What about, for example, you say, where is that thing, by the way? My breakfast, my juice, they say, okay, you must put here salt and sugar. Yeah, both salt and sugar must be inside. So, but you must always know that anything that you have put inside, you must be able to remove and say, okay, how would this thing taste if I don't put salt and sugar, but I only put salt? That means you have fulfilled the variable number 1, which means you can replace any of the elements. Okay, what about if it is not salt that I remove, but let me put salt, let salt remain, let me remove sugar. Then later on, come back and say, okay, let sugar remain. Let me remove salt. And how will it taste? Then you write it down. This is how this will taste without salt. This is how it will taste with salt. This is how this one will taste without sugar. And this is how it will taste with both salt and sugar. Those are variables. You must be able to not just say, okay, they said it is with sugar and salt, and you have done it like that. No, you must say, okay, but as science, it means you are checking what will happen if then that is one thing to replace it. But then the other variable you must be able to do is you must also be able to measure. So, for example, they told me that I should use 1 gram of salt and 1 gram of sugar. What about if I change the measurement? let me use 2 grams each. And what about if I use 1 gram of salt and 3 grams of sugar? What about if I use the opposite? 1 gram of sugar and 3 grams of salt. So you must always have variables in experiments. That's why, for example, Nigeria, what they say, let's talk about the killing of the herdsmen. People say, for example, it is the Christians. It is Buhari that wants to Islamize Nigeria. And they will come up with some evidence. One man that is coming somewhere and say, I know that Buhari is the president of one organization of the herdsmen, and so he's the one. Oh, okay, then they'll come up with another experiment, with another evidence and say, there is a video. You see that video? What they are saying in Hausa is Shai Baba or Sai Baba or something. Say Baba. Say Baba. Say Baba it means that they are saying Say Baba. And whenever they say Baba, it means Buhari. Which is okay. I'm not arguing. So that is for them, that is a confirmation. But I saw the video myself with my own eye. They are saying Say Baba, I had it. So it means it's Buhari that is responsible. He knows what is happening. He's the one who covered it. I say, okay, good. Good, well and good. But it is not scientific method until you can tell me the other variables. That is just one option. Okay, let's say we have the Say Baba video. Good. Show me other variables. Let's remove that factor and let's now say, what about if it is the politicians opposite the opposition? Why did you remove that variable, that option? What about if it is they who want Buhari to be removed, that because of that, they are now saying that it is the one. Okay, those people, they actually said that, but that is not enough. Do you know who paid them? And did anybody pay them to say that thing? Was it set up? How will I know it's not? There must be other variables. So any factor that you are using, you must be able to remove it or put it there. Or for example, somebody said they are speaking Hausa. Then the other person came with another video and said, but the Hausa they are speaking is not Nigeria Hausa. It's with accent from another place. You see, these are, some people just say, they are speaking Hausa, that's it. Or they are herdsmen, that's it. Okay, for example, Buhari goes and says, I know he went to America and he even says it up to now that Nigerian herdsmen don't carry guns. They only carry sticks. And all Nigeria went mad and say, how can he say he's lying, all these things? But we don't know hypothesis. What he is coming from, what he is saying is that traditionally, that is the way it is. But we know that the fact on the ground is now the opposite. So you say they carry sticks. I will not be in a hurry and say it's a lie. Yes, that is traditionally. But the fact on the ground today shows us something else. Now they are no more just carrying sticks. They are carrying guns. Now, so you are saying they are carrying sticks. Why is it that you remove other variables that we can see? So all 2 of them, they are in trouble. They are not using scientific method. Buhari is not using scientific method because he is holding to what normally is. But he's not considering the facts on the ground now. That is the tradition here. But the ones who are saying he's a liar, they also don't consider that, yes, that is the way it used to be. So it doesn't mean he's lying. You are not lying, but you are all not considering all factors. I don't know if you are. So they said, but Pastor, why don't you go and talk that this guy said it's stick they are carrying, but we have the video where they are carrying gun. Why don't you go and talk? I cannot just talk like that because there is a fact in what he's saying, even though it's not objective to the end, because it's like you two are not objective to the end. So if I'm going to talk, I have to talk against him and you. I don't know if you are getting where I'm coming from. Okay, for example, Nigerians will come and say, Buhari didn't do anything. Then I get you and say, he did something, but what he's doing is not working. Because he went there, He brought the military over there to come and do something. He post some military something. They fire the commissioner who is in charge. But all those things are not working. But don't just come and tell me he didn't do anything. No, I don't know what you are getting. Yeah. So the whole Nigeria is a mess for me. Nobody is using my scientific. And these people are now saying you are not talking. I cannot talk because if I'm going to talk, I'm going to all of you are wrong. He is doing something that is wrong. I mean, that is not working. It's a failure. But you too, you are a failure because you are saying he's not doing anything while he's doing something. No, I don't know if you know. I don't. Is it too complicated what I'm saying?
This is too high because
it's too high.
Because if somebody
for ordinary people,
if somebody cannot think, how can you even apply scientific method? We've not got into the level of thinking first.
Just thinking.
Just thinking. Then talking about scientific method. That's the challenge we have.
No, at least I'm just trying to explain why I'm not responding when all of them are trying to push me to always say something. They are not seeing all the variables that I'm saying. But I'm using variables. But they are not using variables. For example, when the guy, when the guy used to, that Nnamdi Kanu used to talk about Nigeria and used to say, this is a zoo, all you zoo people that are there. I said, you people, if I were an Igbo person, I would come out against him, even for that reason alone. Because I would say, if you call them a zoo now, and the people who are there, like for example, I'm here, I'm a Nigerian person. Even if I was supporting your cause before, because you have just come in that zoo, you have just made me your enemy. Then I'm now going to, and I said, you have to talk now because Igbo people are living among those people he's calling zoo. Don't you know that it will backlash? Those people will wake up and say, okay, you are living among us. You say your people are saying you are zoo, you are not talking, you are keeping quiet. Hey, go back to that, go back from the zoo now. Those people will be irritated one day to kick against. You don't know it's counterproductive. Because we are not using variables. We are not using scientific method. To say, no, I will not associate myself with this guy because the people he's calling, so I'm living among them. They are my neighbors. They will one day wake up, think, and thank God they don't think too. So because they don't think, they are not even aware. All of them are just laughing. But for someone like me who think, I'm able to break it down and see where are the, So the variables, you must remember that. Variables are very important. What are the two things that are important in variables when you are doing experiment? Number one, elements must be able to be removed. Facts, whatever you call facts, you must be able to replace or remove them and see what will happen. Okay? Number two, you must be able to measure. Either reduce the measurement or increase, or, there must be some, for example, what you call measure, for example. Let's say Hausa, they are speaking Hausa. If you don't measure the accent, you will just think that they are speaking Hausa, that's all. But by measuring, by examining the kind of Hausa they are speaking, that will help you to know if it is the same Hausa that we are talking about or not. You understand what I'm saying? Then once you measure it and say, it's not our Hausa, then it leads you to now examine where do they speak that one. Yeah. Then who brought them in? So when you talk about variables, facts, don't just say it's a fact. Oh, I saw the video they are speaking Hausa. That is not a fact to me yet. It must be measured. And then after that, you must then replace it. It must be able to be, you must be able to subtract, replace, and put another one. See, so variables you must have, variables is either the experiment can be changed, you can change the factors or the facts, or you can, measure it, measurement or change it, replacing or measurement. They are very important when it comes to questioning. So this is still a level of questioning in your mind. So let's go back to the second. What is the second step?
Second step.
In scientific method.
The second step in scientific method. Do background research.
Wow, beautiful. This one is beautiful. This one is beautiful. And I think that people like Success should like this because he's doing his research now. And people who are editing my books, they should also like this because people don't understand how I write my books because I built it on scientific method. Anybody who has ever read my book, do you know that I bring facts out, stories, facts, statistics, things? That's why you can never read my book and be disappointed. No. Because I've considered everything. I built my own hypothesis and my own, algorithm of writing books. Only my books can be written like that. Or the only other people who can write books like that are the people I've trained or who have worked with me before. They will always be different from any other person's books. Because it was built on informed system, algorithm that I developed myself. So you must apply also, learn every one of you to apply scientific method to everything you are doing. You don't need to know it by heart, but at least have the photograph, at least, have the notes. So that when you are doing something, you can always go back to it and cross-check that everything has the standard that is needed. So the second thing we are going to be examining right now is background research or background check. Do background research. So how is that look like? We are going to, and as we are listening to it, we are going to refer it back to what is happening in Nigeria because this all thing we are doing because of Africa. So I'm going to ask you questions or make you get ready.
Number 2, step of scientific method. Do background research. Use library and internet research to help you find the best way to do things and ensure that you don't repeat mistakes from the past.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Do I need to explain this to you?
Yes, sir.
Emmanuel, I like you. You are very open, very direct. And I think he's right. By the time I finish explaining it, you will discover that it's very correct. Because whatever you are thinking about what I've written here, by the time I begin to explain, you'll be thanking Emmanuel at the end of the day. So why do you do research? Or why will you need to do background research? Number 1, whatever it is that you are going through, something led to it. But most of the time, we only see what has happened now and respond. But when you only respond to what has just happened now, you will never be right. And you will never be objective. Because there are some things you are not saying. Let me tell you an example, for example. I've said it many times, but maybe now, at least you people who are here will understand me. But I've said it many times. You never use somebody's weakness or failure to, is it tag them? What is the word I was asking for yesterday? To stigmatize them. Or what is that? What's another name for that?
Label them.
To label them. To label them. That's why, for example, I don't believe and I don't support calling people homosexuals. I don't support calling people gays. Now, I know the words are being used, but I don't. And I don't condemn them. Am I for? No. I'm against. Just like I'm against any other sin. But if you were to be a gay person, let's say Chris is a gay person now, and you didn't know. But before you knew that he was gay, what did you think about Chris? You were thinking he's a great guy. Because he's friendly. He's good to you. So what happened to that good side of it? His friendship, his friendliness, his kindness, his openness, whatever you respected him, why you are calling him a good person, a friend. What happened to all that factors, all that good side, just because you got to know that he's gay, now all that is gone? He didn't go anywhere. He's still the same person. So that one little point that you got to know about it, why should you now use it to stigmatize him? And now he's no more Chris, the good guy. He's no more a friend. He's no more Chris, the heart of the friendship. He's no more Chris, the kind. He's no more Chris, the genuine friend. He's no more Chris, the brilliant. He's no more Chris. He's now a gay. That brother is a gay. That man is a gay. It's not fair. You don't do that. But that's what Christians are doing. Now, I am quiet. But they are using, you don't do that. You don't use one factor to label people. You don't define someone just by their even by their weakness or by their failure. You don't use somebody's failure to just, that's what they did to me when I was in primary secondary school. They were calling me dullard. I never knew that I was not just dullard, because I thought that was the only thing I was in my whole life. But right now, 30 years later, 40 years later, I'm discovering that, hey, wow, it's not true. Dullard. It's like that is end for you. But apart from, even though I was not good in that thing, or I couldn't read, or I was not good in mathematics, but that dullard thing just puts an end to everything. But as a matter of fact, I happen to be kind or to be good. Even I was even brilliant. But that dullard definition cancelled. So you don't use one thing. Yeah, especially weakness. It's just like people saying, in Nigeria, or not just Nigeria, that the Hausas are the problem of Nigeria.
That's a very blanket.
You don't do that. So let's take the gays. You don't use that and say because he's a gay, that doesn't mean that he's not a kind person. So you will not call him gay, because that gay something is only in relation to his sexuality. So why should I take only sexuality to now define a whole human being that is a scientist, that is a educationist, that is a friend, that is a father, that is a son to his father, that is a good son, that is kind, that is a successful person in other areas? And I'm created by God, God's image. And now I'm using that is a gay. So background research is important, because if not, you will be making that mistake. Now, why am I talking about this gay? I told the story many times before. There was a man that died and went to heaven. He's alive today. I want to invite him one day. He's in Washington, D.C. State of Washington. He's a pastor, a good guy. When he died, he had an accident. He had an attack and he died and went to go to heaven. But when he got to heaven, Jesus told him to go back, that it's not his time yet. But he was discussing with him. He said, go and tell everybody on the earth that it is not my wish that anybody will go to hell. I don't want anybody to go to hell at all. I want everybody to come here. He said, see heaven. I want everybody to come here. I said, everybody? He said, yes, everybody. But in his own heart, he was thinking, of course, you don't mean the gays and the homosexuals. They will not come here for sure. But God, in that heaven, when you get there, anything you are thinking, yeah. They pick it up. So he was thinking that is his own heart. But Jesus had it. He picked it up. And Jesus was saying, no, don't think like that. He was telling that guy not to think like that the gays and the homosexuals will not go there. He was saying, so you mean you want also the gay and homosexual to also come here? He said, yes. He said he was shattered. He was saying, this cannot be Jesus. That's what happens to us. So the reason I'm connecting this with this is this, because Jesus said, first of all, by thinking like that, you are condemning people that are made in my image and my likeness. You are judging. That don't judge. You don't have the right to judge. And you know the reason Jesus gave? Jesus said, yes, he's gay. Yes, he's homosexual. But you don't know the background. You don't know what led him to becoming a gay. You don't know the explanation why he became like that, for that his behavior. You don't know. You don't know what happened to him when he was small. You don't know his story. I think somebody should follow him. This God we are serving, eh? This God, eh? This Jesus we are serving, eh? We don't know him. Oh. Because the people who accuse those gay people most, you think they are the unbelievers? They are the same people who say they are believers in Jesus. The ones who call themselves in the name of Jesus Christians, that they are the ones who are followers of Christ. They are the ones who are behaving the opposite of how Christ himself would have behaved. They don't resemble Christ himself. They don't resemble that Jesus that they claim to believe in. So Jesus is going one direction, they are going the opposite. They are acting actually opposite of who God is and how God is. So you now understand why I don't call anybody gay or something. It's not my problem. My wish for them is that God will heal them, deliver them, and we don't see from God's perspective. Yeah. Because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what happened to people. Please give this paper to me. Please don't stigmatize somebody just because the society condemns that thing, or because the country say they are like that, or everybody says that. Let's stop stigmatizing people. We don't know where they are coming from. This one was told to this guy in heaven by Jesus himself. And he was thinking Jesus was going to condemn those people like that they can never go to heaven. To that extent. Now you own heaven. And the one that owned heaven said, it's not your business. It's not your business. You don't know where these people are coming from. So a lot of things we don't know. But religion will tell you have to condemn things and people. You don't know. A lot of things you don't know. You say, it's a sin, it's a sin. Is that your problem? Is that not a sin? Because you don't have your own. So background information, background research, which we are dealing with right now, is in connection to that. If you don't do background information, like Jesus, God has the same thing Jesus is saying actually, that you don't know what led them, you don't know the background, you don't know the history, you don't know what made that guy gay, you don't know what happened to him, you don't know the history. That is what we mean by scientific method. So which means that God is applying scientific method. Why we don't? Which means that Jesus himself is for scientific method. Because you don't understand people's reaction because you don't know their story. So that's what this thing is talking about. So anything that has happened, don't be in a hurry to put your five cents in it. Don't be in a hurry to, give your speech, your sentiments, your condemnation or your speech. But in Nigeria, that's what people like. Speech. You have not said anything, no. You have not seen anything, no. He has spoken. He has spoken. He has condemned. What? But to be human, we need to ask questions, number one. Number two, we need to do background research. Please, let's read the second something.
Number 2, do background research. Use library and internet research to help you find the best way to do things and ensure that you don't repeat mistakes from the past.
So, for example, with that fire, with that truck that burst, for example, that thing has happened before in America. It has happened in major developed countries before, but they have learned from it. They have learned from it and they have reached some certain conclusions. So we don't just start and say, what can we do and be behaving as if it has never happened to anybody. That's why you must do background research and information. By the time you do background research, you think answers are already there. Solutions are already there. But when you don't do it, you just be saying God is the one to blame. Which God? God is angry at Nigerians. It is God, the gods are angry. It is the Buhari that has brought God's anger. God, leave God alone. This thing, do research. By the time you do research, you discover that those kind of things happen. No, when this and that has happened, that's why they have different routes for buses. That's why they use train. That's why they don't do this. That's why they don't do this. That's why research will help you from repeating other people's mistakes. It will save you from other people's errors. Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
Help for this step. Number 1, background research plan, BRP. Number 1.
So it's good to do a plan of research that you are going to do. Do the plan of research. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number 1, background research plan. A, identify the keywords in the question for your project.
So, for example, let's say you want to find out about truck that bust. You say truck with oil, bust, all those keywords. All of you do it. You do it every day on Google. Okay.
Brainstorm additional keywords and concepts. B, use a table with the question words why, how, who, what, when, and where.
Remember those questions. Those are the basic questions you use in research. And even every day when you are doing your Google search, those are the questions you need.
Use a table with the question words why, how, who, what, when, and where to generate research questions from your keywords. C, add to your background research plan a list of mathematical formulas or equations, if any, that you will need to describe the results of your experiment. D, do background research on the history of similar experiments or inventions. And E, network with other people with more experience than yourself.
I think this is very clear. It's just talking to you about, when you are going to do research about that thing, get the maximum information. And how do you get the maximum information? By asking these questions: why, how, who, what, when, where. And also by putting in the keywords about that topic that you are researching on. Find out the history about the subject you are researching on. Find out if there had been previous experiments done in regards to that topic that you are researching on. Find out if there are some people who are working on that subject or who have worked on that subject that you could network with. There are other varieties of, background research. This is another variety of it. Find information. This one, you also use it every day.
Number 2, finding...
This is still under background information. These are just different ways you can find information, do research.
Number 2, background number 2, finding information.
Yes.
A, how to find information. Find and read the general information contained in an encyclopedia, dictionary, or textbook for each of your keywords. Use the bibliographies. Use the bibliographies and sources in everything you read to find additional sources of information. Search the internet to get information from an organization, society, or online database. Broaden your search by adding words to your search phrases in search engines. Narrow your search by subtracting words from or simplifying your search phrases.
That's what you do every day on Google, right?
Yeah. B, when you find information, evaluate if it is good information.
There's another variety here.
Number 3, bibliography. Make a list to keep track of all the books, magazines, and websites you read as you follow your...
Or the link. You could have the links.
As you follow your background research plan. Later, this list of sources will become your bibliography.
Yeah, that's what you put at the end of the book.
Number 4, research paper. 1, notes from your sources of information. These notes will help you write a better summary.
Take notes from those things you are discovering. Take notes. Okay.
2, the research paper should include the following: the history of similar experiments, the history of similar experiments or inventions. 2, the definitions of all important words and concepts that describe your experiment. Answers to all your background research plan questions. Mathematical formulas, if any, that you will need to describe the results of your experiments.
Okay. So this is point 2. We have 7 points that we are going to examine. And you've only done question and background research. So it's 2 o'clock. I know you need to go for summer. Is it lunch?
Yes, now.
Is it now?
We can go now and come back at 2.
What's the plan? What was the plan?
Yeah, the plan will go for lunch now and come back and start the seminar at 2:30.
Okay. So I think it's good that we have done just 2. You will come back with fresh mind by the time we come. I hope it's not too complex.
No, sir. It's something.
Where is your micro?
Something we have to go back to.
Microphone. Sorry?
This is something we have to revisit. It's like I was telling somebody yesterday. I think this is something that requires a solitude. You need to go back and spend some time going through it again, and because it's got a lot of information.
But I think it's good to know all these information, because nowadays when you hear people speak, they just say something they haven't researched. Yeah. Just the superficial and obvious things, but they don't go into real depth to know what the subject is really about. So I'm really happy with this, Because
Too much of it now, especially in this age of internet.
Because everything is so easy to find on YouTube and Google. So, you know.
But people just put things out
Yes.
without. Yeah. Anybody wants to say anything? I will try. I might try my best to simplify it. Okay. So it's not too complicated. Okay. Очень подробно.
Конечно, вы знаете,
Доходчивый, да?
вы знаете, о чем вы говорите, потому что я размышлял перед тем, как попасть сюда, прийти сегодня. И думаю, классная тема. Интересно, почему пастор именно эту тему хочет поднимать, какой смысл он сокрыл в этом, на что он хотел бы, чтобы мы обратили внимание, о чем думать, почему именно эта тема, почему выделил ее и организовал ретрит. И мне пришла такая мысль, что, в принципе, весь успех пастора СНД, эффективность его служения, отличие его от нас, это корень в этой теме.
He said
Искусство задавать
he came to
вопросы.
this HMT because he was he saw the topic and he said, "Oh wow, why did pastors choose a topic like this? Why is it Pastor Sunday is teaching this?" He said the whole morning, and since yesterday he's been thinking about it. Such a topic, unique topic. You don't come across it. Nobody teaches it. Then he then came and thought he started hearing. He said, "Oh, now it's like Pastor Sunday is just X-raying himself before me. I could see the X-ray because I've studied Pastor Sunday all these years, and it's difficult to say he's totally different from any of us humans. And I'm seeing that now he's now explaining to us why he's unique, why he's different. Now when I'm listening to Pastor now, I see him plainly before me. This is how Pastor acts. He acts like this all the time, and I don't.
Все 7
And
лет,
that explains why we are different.
все 7 лет наблюдения за вами, какая картина у меня сложилась, у меня пришел ответ.
I've
Мы
been
все
studying
задаем,
Pastor Sunday for 7 years.
мы все задаем вопросы, почему пастор Сандея получается?
This whole country has been studying Pastor Sunday, and they
Почему
always
нас-
come to the conclusion that
Почему он
it's a
нас не
phenomenon,
понимает?
that it's from another world. We cannot understand him ever.
Почему
But
он-
now I'm hearing him, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is why this man is so different from all of us.
Я прошу у Бога лично дать мне понимание этой темы и вот так же серьезно относиться к этому. Это ключ, принцип, база. Вы нам даете секрет, подарок, основу,
Pastor,
если можно
I'm
сказать.
so grateful because you give secrets to people. Most people will not give you their secrets. They will not give you what they know, what is unique to them. But you are sharing your secrets with us. So, Pastor, I'm taking this very seriously, and I want to go and study this. I'm going to pray even about it. I'm going to fast that God will help me to get it, to grasp it, to be able to live by it.
Понять, использовать, применять, при этом с чистым сердцем. Почему? Потому что это секрет успеха, всех неверующих, то, чему мы не можем понять.
Even these great men in the world, all the historical figures that we are thinking about, these are the things that they know.
Но и без вашего личного примера, наблюдая хотя бы со стороны, я бы это не понял.
With Pastor Sunday, even if somebody had told me that these are the methods that other people who had lived before, the great men, used, it would still have been difficult. But with Pastor Sunday, I can see him in my time. He's living in my generation. I can observe him. I've been observing him for 7 years. So it's easier for me to be able to see how he's applying all these things. And for me, it's applicable because I'm seeing a human being in my time that is applying them.
Да, цитаты всех великих людей, которые вы лично зародили во мне искру, требовать от жизни большего и стремиться стать великим человеком. Мои успехи, насколько постольку Бог может оценивать, насколько я успешен в этом. Но у меня не прекращается этот огонь, это желание и поиск, что же во мне не так, что же я не так делаю, чего я не учитываю, в чем я не такой, где я промазываю, что важное, не взято на вооружение, не используется. И вот сейчас эту тему вы даете.
One of the great things that Pastor has taught us is to always, be in to always look, to always improve, always improve yourself. So, and this is a key to improve yourself, to add value to yourself. Yeah, Pastor always teach us to add value to ourselves. And this will really make you to independently add value to yourself. If you live by this principle of researching everything, if you live by this principle of questioning everything, if you live by this principle of cause and effect in all questions and all areas of life, you will constantly grow, you will constantly evolve, you will constantly be improving yourself, adding value to yourself and becoming better than you are.
Вы эффективны, и мы у вас учимся, потому что вы действительно предварительно задаете вопросы. Как мне быть актуальным? На какие вопросы мне...
If you have known Pastor Sunday for some time, you will know that he's so effective. And the reason he's effective is that he always asks questions ahead of things before he does anything. He's always having answers. He's always prepared. And now I know why. Questions.
Но это мои предварительные...
That is my conclusion so far.
Предварительное мое мнение, потому что я не вижу вашей закулисной работы. Но посмотреть на книги, это сплошной вопрос. Как появилась книга?
У вас был вопрос. Just his results, listening to him, reading his books. I mean, this is not human. A human being don't do things like this. Now, but I see now how I can do it, because if I will always question everything, and research everything, look, I will become just like him.
Да, вы пример владения знаниями, эффективной работы с ними.
For me, Pastor Sunday is an epitome of effectiveness, effective life.
Все темы,
an effective life.
Все темы проповедей.
If you listen to Pastor Sunday, you would think he knows everything. I mean, every topic, any subject.
Рождается через вопросы. Что мне еще дать? Что еще будет полезно? Что еще может усилить? Что еще может пробудить? Как им еще помочь? Какие проблемы я еще могу им решить, чтобы освободить их, и они тоже помогут. Спасибо вам, потому что это впечатляет.
I come back at 3? Yeah? Okay. So they said I will come back at 3. Then they can have as much break as they want. Okay.
Okay, viewers on Facebook, let's put our hands together, guys, and thank DSA. Thank you for being with us through the first section of day 5, the History Makers Training, June 2018. We are going on break and we'll be back in an hour. So don't go anywhere, save the time, and see you soon. Bye-bye.